I'm appointing you, if I have the appointment, if I
I just
can.
need I need a second for that, and then.
Can I
everyone
second it
second
too?
I'll second that.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Ms. Weeks, it's yours. If you, so do you have the agenda in front of you? If you just want to take over at number 2?
So we have our minutes, and I guess if everybody has had a chance to review those, we need to make a motion to approve our minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you.
She said it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. Mr. Delton?
Good evening, members of the Historic District. Tonight, one of our first items of business will be CA 17-20. This will be property owned by Mr. Richard Best. Mr. Best, would that be you? That's me. That is, Mr. Best is here with us tonight. Welcome. Mr. Best has property located on the south side of Park Avenue between North Leslie Street and Lionel Street, more formally known as 704 Park Avenue. Property is on R16 residential, and Mr. Best is seeking to demolish an accessory structure located at the rear of his property. At this point in time, the structure, based off of information that has been submitted to staff through a North Carolina licensed professional engineer, this structure has been deemed structurally unsafe and unsound, and he is requesting a certificate of appropriateness from this board in order to have it demolished. As you can see, here are some pictures of the accessory structure: garage, carriage house, average year built around 1919. It is not listed as a significant or contributing structure within the district. I have some other pictures here, and I'll be happy to lay these out for you to come and look at if you'd like, but before I do that, I was just going to read you some comments from the engineer of record. His gentleman's name is engineer by the name of Wayne Dashel. On August 18th of 2020, he did make a site visit to the residence, and the purpose of the visit was to conduct a building inspection of 420 square foot carriage house, double-decker located at the rear of the property. Some of the exterior walls of the existing two-story frame structure were leaning, and again, we have some pictures that can actually show you a visual of that if you're interested. During the inspection, he also found that the second floor framing lacked the proper sizes and floor joist spacing and is in bad condition. Based on the conditions of the foundation, walls, roof, and floor joists, Mr. Dashel is certifying that the structure is not structurally sound and should be demolished or rebuilt. All right, that's our next. So again, planning staff is recommending that the Historic Commission, number one, request that this proposal does not meet the guidelines for property improvements because it's structurally deficient and has no significance or value towards maintaining the character of the district. And two, that the Historic Commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for this demolition of the structure. Are there any questions of staff regarding this case?
I looked at it for you, Richard. Did you? I looked at, I love that house. It's absolutely beautiful. But my realtor took me back there, and there was absolutely nothing salvageable about that
It's,
part. So, we need someone to make a motion for a request that it does not meet the guidelines for property improvement.
And I just want to clarify, the reason we state that it does not meet the guidelines is because obviously the number one priority of this commission is to preserve historic property structures within the historic district. But it does not mean that you cannot issue a certificate of appropriateness amongst, certain circumstances. So just to be clear, that does not meet guidelines. It's just because it states in our guidelines to preserve structures or properties. And the applicant's present. If you have any questions for him, he would just need to be sworn in before he speaks.
I'll make a motion that it doesn't meet the guidelines of whatever you just said. Did it's not,
For property improvement.
yes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
You need to make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness.
I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of appropriateness.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Four calls on somebody.
But you do have a beautiful house.
Thanks.
That is absolutely gorgeous. I love your stone out front. It's pretty.
I've heard he's gonna have a big party and not a lot of folks.
Yeah. Big open house when we get that. Might be 90 years old. So what is my next step then as far as go to the inspections department?
Our staff, we'll be in contact with you. We'll actually issue there's an actual certificate that is provided to you, and then you would need to contact inspections for a demolition permit.
Okay.
But they just need to see that certificate before they issue any kind of permits.
Okay.
Should have that taken care of no later than 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, or if you want to pick up a building permit application, demolition of the structure. You're welcome. Thanks for coming, Mr. Benson.
The next item is we are holding a public hearing with regards to locally designating a historic landmark for the Borden manufacturing. I've spoken to you guys several times regarding this, giving you the heads up that it was coming before the board, as well as at our last meeting, I did seek your approval to send a staff report to the State Historic Preservation Office for their review and comment. They have reviewed the report that I sent, and you have that in your packets. You have the application. The only thing that I did not include, because it was such a large document, was what I submitted with that application, and the packet that you have in front of you was the actual report that was done when the project, or when the properties sought historic or National Register landmark. And that was in 2004, and it's a very lengthy report, and that was the supporting documentation that was submitted to the state for review. As recent as yesterday, I received information from the state that they wanted additional information from the applicant regarding, why they're seeking the local landmark. So I have made contact with the applicant, and we are actually having a call in the morning with regards to getting that additional information so we can send it back to the state. I did not want to hold up the public hearing for tonight, just simply because we believe staff believes and the city believes that this is a good project to see that the Borden manufacturing be, restored and actually have some residential uses associated with it. It would be 125 units from 1-bedroom to 3-bedroom units. And the applicant is seeking the local landmark destination because it will be a tax credit that they will be able to receive for developing or rehabbing the project. Staff's recommendation is that this board does recommend to City Council the local landmark destination and take into any comments that the state may provide back. If you read our ordinance for establishment of historic landmarks, again, wanted to remind you, this property is not within the historic district. However, this board is the one that recommends destinations to the City Council for consideration for the entire city of Hillsborough, city limits. It is a requirement that we send a report to the state, and it is a requirement that they offer us comments back within 30 days. We do not have to consider their comments at all. You can still, the City Council and this board's recommendation can still recommend a locally landmark destination regardless of what their comments are. So I did not want to hold up this public hearing as we had already advertised for it. And obviously I do not see anyone that's here to speak for or against. So, it's up to discussion. If y'all have any questions for me, I'll be happy to do my best to answer them. But again, staff's recommendation is to recommend designation to the historic landmark for the Borden manufacturing or the mill. It is both sides of the property, as you see on the map. They're looking at interior significance as well as exterior significance with this building. So we will again take it to City Council for their consideration upon your recommendation, and we'll also take any comments received from the state and incorporate that into the report that is given to City Council. And there's a brief description in your packets of the rehab project itself. If you have any questions regarding that. I think some of you on this, that were on this board, the only other properties that we have done this with was Patrick's properties, the 6 buildings downtown where they're being rehabbed as well for residential units downtown. And again, Patrick took advantage of the local landmark destination in order to receive additional tax credits for rehabilitation of those properties. And what that means, if City Council deems this a local landmark, it means that ordinance will be filed at the Register of Deeds, stay with that property, and that property cannot be altered in any way to lose that local landmark. So it has to stay historic in nature to the way that it is today. So everything that you're saying makes it historic. It's architecture, it's materials, it's pieces in the interior. Once you locally landmark, it stays with that property from there forward. So that is what you're doing. And so it would not be, they can put it into reuse, but it will need to, the materials, the foundation, the meat of the building will remain intact, and they would repair with the like materials. Everything that you see typically in the historic district would apply to this property, even though it's not within the historic district.
I did have one question, which I already asked Jennifer, and I'm curious this, and I don't remember the wording, Jennifer, maybe you could read it again. It says something about income restricted housing. I'm kind of curious as to what that means. Do you have to make a certain amount to live there, or do you have to make below a certain amount to live there? I'd like to at least put that on the record. I'd like to know.
Well, I don't know the details of that, and that is not something that we, even the planning department we don't have anything that says they can't develop it the way they want to.
I just wanted to question on the record.
Right, but it's, for the sake of this board, That is not the case. A site plan will come through when this all comes to fruition and it's time to start getting permits and things to that nature. There will be a site plan involved, and it will all come before city council due just to the size of the property. And even at that time, we won't look at how he's going to rent the units, but they will have to comply with the Unified Development Ordinance and zoning regulations the city has in place.
So do we just make a recommendation that,
I'm
that
just-
this designation is definitely, should have a historic landmark?
So the motion or the second that that staff is seeking is that you recommend destination as a local historic landmark to city council for their consideration.
Well, I make a motion that we do, because, I mean, it says it's the lone survivor in the city of Goldsboro for pre-World War II textile mills. So I definitely make a motion that we recommend that as a designation for historic landmark. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then all opposed?
Thank you. The last bit of business that staff has for the board is recommendation of appointments to the commission. At our last meeting, I did let you know that Wally as well as Alicia Pierce's terms are due to expire at the end of December. They are up for reappointment. Ms. Pierce has indicated she would like to be reappointed, and my recommendation to this board is to suggest the same for Wiley until we were to know anything further. I personally believe he likes serving on the board, and that gives him something to look forward to upon his recovery. You will have one vacancy. If you recall at our last meeting, Alana Moore was removed from the commission due to lack of attendance. So the city council is reviewing boards and commissions for all city boards and commissions at their next meeting, and they will take into consideration the board's recommendations with regards to reappointments. So for the record, I would just like that this board make a motion and have it seconded with regards to recommending reappointment of your two current members.
So I make a motion that we reappoint Mr. Leonard and Ms. Pierce to board.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And all opposed?
That's all we have.
I'll try to get it. Right, he does. And he does a very good job. Do you
Oh, so there's no other meeting, no other business. I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Thank you.
That was good, wasn't it? See, Crystal, hang with me.